love Jesus.
Apostolic Sunday School.
Welcome to ApostolicSundaySchool.com. Today we're going to do another magic trick, or as we call them, Christian illusions. I learned that from Brother Bagum because we don't do magic tricks. We do illusions, and they're Christian. So the Christian illusions, or magic with a message, or whatever else you want to call them. But today we're using these 3 foam balls to show how the devil can be a very deceitful, very tricky guy. So what you do is you start out with one of the foam balls and you say, okay, now I'm just going to hold this in my hand and I'm going to put it just like this. Now you are going to have one too. So I'm going to pick this one up and I'm going to put it in your hand, and then you hand these to them. Now, I don't have anybody here today, but you'd put this in their hand and say, squeeze it tight, squeeze it tight. Now this is what the devil's going to do. He's going to entice you to do something, and you're going to think, oh, that's cool, but it's not that big a deal. It's just something simple. And then suddenly you wake up and he says, ha ha, look what I've done to you. And he opens his hand and there's nothing in his, and he'll say, open yours. And you're, well, I've only done one little thing. It's no big deal. And you open your hand, and instead of 2 things, or instead of 1 thing, there's actually 2. Spooky. So I'm going to put these back down here. I'm going to pretend that the other person I'm doing this to is still holding these. So then I pick up a 3rd ball and I say, okay, now again, I'm going to hold this one, and then I'm going to hand you another ball. So they're holding these 2, and anyway, they're holding these 2, and then you pick these up and you say, okay, and you put these in their hand, and now you say, how many do you have? And they say, well, 2, of course. And they say, yeah, that's what the devil wants you to think. And then he opens his hand, there's nothing, and then you open theirs, and there's 3 now, 3 balls. It's just amazing. So the devil has a way of multiplying sin. And so the way this works, and you can just play this a bunch of different ways. If you go and look at the foam balls, you can see how to actually do this. There's actually 4 of them, and you can keep this going for a long time. But the way this works is you have this ball between your fingers, and all you're doing is slipping it down and clenching it right there, and then pretending to put it in your hand. It's that simple. So just like this. Just like put it in here, and you leave this hand. Obviously, you're not going to hold it like this. So you put it like this. Put it in your hand, and then you're just leave this hand kind of open, and it's great if you can slip it down here where you're actually like picking up stuff. You just obviously never put your hand like that. So fold it in, then you say, okay, and you pick up one, and you say, put this in your hand, and so I now have 2 because I had the one that I palmed. This hand's empty, and I hand it to them. And then when they have 2, you do it again, put it in your hand, and then when you're grabbing the 2 out of their hand, and now you're handing them 3 and 4. And so it's just a very it's a pretty cool trick, but it does take a little bit of practice. But there's a lot of lessons you could do with this one as well, but I use it for the deceitful, tricky, sneaky devil. Thank you for watching.